basically the topic of this class is really we talk about what is Buddha nature or the essence really, and that is really you can say the core, the true, I say true reality or the true being. Okay, it's that oneness, thusness. Okay, we call it oneness, thusness. In Chinese, they call it 一如一真一实. All right, okay, that's same idea. Or we kind of even that's more specific in Chinese. But in Chinese, we also say 福性. Okay, 福性, or you can say Buddha nature. Or the Tathathagarbha, or Tathathagarbha. Though literally that translation means the womb of the Buddha nature, or something like that. Matrix of Buddha essence, matrix of the true essence, or something like that. Yeah, Tathathagarbha. Tathathagarbha. Whatever. Doesn't matter. See. Yeah. So we just kind of like simplify, and we all say Buddha nature. So you're going to hear the term Buddha nature a lot. That's what it means. Okay, that's what it implies. Even though technically, it's I'm going to say technically it's incorrect. It's just technically it's something else. Okay, but don't worry about that. What I'm trying to get at is this core, this essence, this true reality is really what all of Buddha's teachings or dharmas, reflected in all his, we call it sutras, etc., okay, is pointing to, or is driving at. Let's put it this way. Okay, and that's also true for not just the Buddhist canons or scriptures or whatever teachings, but also it's reflected, or you can say it's the essence or the fundamental of what Lao Tzu is talking about in it's very famous the Tao Te Ching. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Tao Te Ching, right? The book of the way and the virtue. That's okay. So okay. I'll touch upon that a little bit later, and then also what Confucius talks about. Okay, really, okay, that essence or that Buddha nature. Even though Confucius talks about it from the perspective of the human society, or you can say society. I say, or I'll say human realm, the human society. What I mean by human society, in terms of human relationships, the social structure, the cultural aspects. See that? So that's from that perspective he's talking about. So what I'm trying to get at is that this essence, this thing we call Buddha nature, this oneness, this essence, is very, very. You can say it's very abstract in the sense that, in this respect, it is non-dualistic, it is non-dimensional or dimensionless and timeless. So if you and it's unperturbed or unmoving, you can say unperturbed. Okay, so what is that? See, that's a problem. See, so I just use those adjectives, right? It's dimensionless, it's non-dualistic, it's timeless, and it's unperturbed. So how can you describe something that has those type of characteristics? We say characteristics, but so it's very hard, right? So it's very hard. But that's the essence. That's the true thing. And now Buddha, or in Buddha's teachings, they use the term tathata, right? Suchness, oneness, okay, the true suchness, all that, okay, Dharma nature, Buddha nature, okay, so. But to help us understand a little bit what is that tathata, that true nature, true being. We can kind of like describe it in several ways, okay? One way to describe it, you can say, and this is very theoretical, it can be theoretical or very abstract, is you say there's a principle and there's a function. It's the union of the two, or I say union, that oneness, you can say has two, it's like two sides of a coin, okay? That oneness or suchness has these two aspects. One is, you say there's principle, you can say li, okay? And a function, understand? Okay, a function. That's one way of looking at it, okay? Another way of looking at it is you can say there is this essence, there's something, right? Something indescribable, something that all pervasive, okay? And yet it has a consciousness. Okay, that's another way of saying it. Okay, another way. Just different ways, okay? All right? Okay. So what I'm trying in some and especially in the Buddhism or Hinduism, they have a term for that. You know, those two, that essence and that consciousness, if you will. They call it akasha and sunyata. Very interesting. Okay, so anyway, so don't worry about that. But that's just different ways of describing things. Okay, so now another way of saying is you say you can say there is an energy. Energy, you can say. Now, this energy is not the same type of energy that we describe in terms of physics, okay, like E is equal to m squared. It's not that. It's not that type of energy. That's amazing. We can say there's an energy, and then there is a will. Okay, so it's very similar. That's another way of describing. So it's very similar to say what the Bible said in Genesis. Is it not New Testament? That was in John chapter 1 verse 1, right? Because in the beginning there was the word, right? You used the term word, okay? Now that word does not mean this word, okay? It doesn't mean that. And then the word was with God. You get it? So the word, you can say it's like the essence. I mean, you can replace it that way. And then the God is like you say, it's that consciousness. Get it? Or that will, because will comes from consciousness, right? If you have no consciousness, there's no will. And here's a very simple test. Get a piece of rock. Does a rock have a will? Can it move? No, because it has no consciousness. Get it? Similarly, plants. Okay, whereas an animal has a will. If something is dangerous, they can choose to run, right? They can choose to hide or whatever, or run, right? Because, why? Because they have a consciousness. They have some sense of awareness, some sense, right? There's danger, or there's something hot, something cold, something, like that. Whereas plants can sense certain things, like when there's a sun, they'll do photosynthesis, right? But it's not a will. They can't say, well, even though there's sun, there's sunlight, I choose to not have photosynthesis. They can't do that. They have no will. Get it? There's a difference. Right, so that's the distinction between animals and plants, right? Get it? So that's why in the Tao or in Buddhism, if you really want to get down to the defining, the very fine line of saying, why Buddhists choose not to eat animals, and they only allow you to eat plants, it's because animals have this consciousness, understand? Whereas plants don't. Get it? Okay? So that's the difference. Now, some people say, plants have consciousness. That's wrong, because they don't have a will. If they have a consciousness, then the plant can say, hey, there's sunlight, right? There's sunlight, right? They have a consciousness, their awareness, right? So I don't want to perform photosynthesis. No, but they have to, because that's the function. You can say that's the nature of plants, right? They have chlorophyll, right? Because they have chlorophyll. If sunlight hits it, they'll do photosynthesis. Isn't that true? They can't say, I want to shut it down. They have no such will. Get it? Okay, so that's very, very nitty-gritty. You understand now? Okay, so you all understand? Okay, so just like say in the Bible, the Word was with God. So it's and what's the next line? And it's one, right? Or something? No. Was with God, right? Is God,
Yeah.
or something like that. Is something like that. That means it's one. It's that oneness. Get it? So really, that oneness is that Buddha nature. Understand? Okay. We call it Buddha nature. We just simplify it. Okay. All right. Understand? So we have to understand what that is. Okay. Now, all the Buddha's teachings really is talking about that. And when we say enlightenment, okay, when Buddha talked about Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, right? Are you guys familiar with that term, right? Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, right? You familiar with that? That's okay. Literal translation means the literal translation of that is the supreme or unsurpassed perfect enlightenment. That's the translation, literal translation. Okay. What basically that means? It means that it is at that when you reach that level of that oneness. Get it? That's really what Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi means. Okay. So we just say enlightened. We say Buddhas because all Buddhas, quote unquote, by definition, have attained Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. That's why they're called Buddhas. Get it? Okay, that's what it is. Okay, so what Buddha is trying to say is that all of us, because we all have that consciousness, we all have that essence, we can all attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. The question is, how do we go about it? Okay, so that's why Buddha spent the rest of his 45, 49 years, whatever, teaching the way, the path to attain that Anuttara Samyak, Wusang Zhendeng, or Anodoro Samyak Sambuddhi. That's Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Okay, for those who speak Chinese, all right? Okay. So really, that is the core of all his teachings. Now, the problem is, as I just said in my intro, that this oneness, thusness, is impossible to describe. Okay. All right. So what Buddha attempted to do in all his sutras or his teachings, his dharmas, really, is to apply different methods based upon the different, you can say, levels of understanding of his audience or disciples, and so therefore you have so many different types, different dharmas, different teachings, and some people, some scholars or some people on the surface say, hey, on the one hand, in one teaching, Buddha say there is existence, there is being, there is something, and then in another sutra, to another disciple or another audience, he say there's no such thing. You get it? There's non-existence or emptiness. You get it? So it says on the surface, it's very contradictory, right? On the one hand, Buddha is telling this disciple, hey, there is being. There's something called, existence or being or reality, whatever we're going to call it, or phenomena. On the other hand, in totally another sutra, another teaching, he's saying there's no such thing. So it seems very contradictory, right? Very paradoxical. Right? So people read this and they say, doesn't make sense. So, Buddhism it's not the correct way. It's not the right way. See? So this is all very superficial. Understand? Get it? And as I try to explain, the reason why Buddha spoke of existence or being to people who are nihilists, people who deny existence. You get it? Or idealists. I mean, that's another. I don't want to get into these philosophical terminology because it gets too abstract, but it's idealism. Nothing is real until perceived. Whatever. That's too much. We don't need to go into that. Okay. But let's just give you an idea. So Buddha because why he used expedient means, it's called skillful means, that's another terminology. It just means that to people who are fixated on non-existence, he said, no, there is something. He's saying there is something, there is existence or being, okay? then for people who are the Brahmas of his day, the Hindu, religion, they believe in the what's that? Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu, right? The Holy Trinity or whatever. They believe that they have these, these gods or deities, whatever. Okay, whatever. Buddha said, no, they don't exist. Get it? Because what he's trying to say is that all these notions of the Trinity, the Brahma, these are all not the true reality, not the supreme reality. They do exist, but they only exist for a certain amount of time. They're not eternal. See, that's the key. So that's why he said they don't exist. That's why he's used non-existence. Get it? So you got to understand what Buddha's approach is. So what I'm trying to get at, to make the whole thing short, is that all what Buddha was trying to say, or not trying to say, trying to get to, is that he's talking about this essence. Get it? This essence is indescribable. It's neither this or that. Get it? And it gets even deeper, but I don't want. Okay, so we talk about being and non-being, right? It's not either one. Understand? Because what he was saying is that if you become fixated on, it's got to be just this or it's got to be just that, in this case, being or non-being, then that's it. He said that is one of the key, main obstacles to becoming enlightened. Or to become enlightened means anuttara samyak sambodhi. Remember, right? As I said, okay. So that's what Buddha called the two wrong views. Two wrong views. They're the extreme views. One is the view of existence. The Brahmas believe that, there's an eternal, some kind of spirit or being or whatever, okay? And then on the other hand, there's the nihilist that says, no, nothing exists. Everything's empty, right? Nothing is real. Nothing is real. Or idealism, all right? Or nihilist, whatever. Because that's wrong too. You get it? So those are the two. So we should be careful not to fall into that trap. Understand? Okay, so that's very important. That's a level of understanding that each one of us has to feel comfortable with and become and overcome in order to go to the next level. Understand? Yeah.
I think another way to look at this is we're not supposed to abide to a form, abide to a non-form. So that would be
Yeah. You can describe it in many terms, okay? It's dualistic. The point is, you can generalize it as it's dualistic. But some people only think of a form is a physical thing. It's really also an idea, a concept. Get it? So that's why you call it the two wrong views. It's even just an idea. Even an idea. Understand? Make sense? Even a concept, idea, theory, whatever, principle, whatever. Get it? So we have to be very careful, and that's really what the key. Now we can go more complicated. There's I don't want to go into it. It's called the fourfold negations, but 四忌, okay, fourfold negations, 人旁的忌, right? Good time, okay. It's called the fourfold negations. It means it comprises the first two that I talked about, existence, okay. You guys will see it in this list, the glossary terms, okay? It's page 2, okay? It's the 四忌. The four propositions or verses or fourfold. It's of not existence, not non-existence. So that's two. That's the first two. Then there's both existence and non-existence. Woo, that's tricky. And then neither existence nor non-existence. Wow. See, so that's all possibilities when you think about it. Right? That's all possibilities. Now, see, this gets very abstract, so I don't want to go too deep into it, but just give you a little flavor, okay? So the first two we talked about, right? Existence and non-existence, right? Right? We talked about that, right? Right? Existence, you can say eternalism. Some people believe that there's a soul, for example. Most religions or religious people, would say, there's some soul that's eternal, right? That's eternal. You got to be careful. It's really not the soul. I mean, that's really not eternal. You know that? Because let me ask you. People generally say the soul, right, is what will happen, will go to, I use the term, say, will go to once we die, right? Once this physical form dies, right? Dies. That's when the soul leaves the body, right? That's what, by definition, what something is a corpse versus a living thing, right? Right? A corpse does not have that, what we call soul, right? That entity called soul. Whereas a living being has an entity called soul, right? That's why it has consciousness, it has free will, it can think, it can feel, etc., right? Okay, so people say, yeah, okay, so far so good, right? That makes sense. So if we say the soul leaves the body, and that's what's called death, we call it death, okay? And then let's say people believe in, like Christian orthodoxy, or most religions say, oh, if that person did bad, it's evil, right? There's a lot of, negative karma or whatever bad thing. That soul, when that soul leaves the body, that soul goes somewhere, right? Goes somewhere. Doesn't go to heaven, doesn't go back to kingdom of God because that soul is bad, right? Right? And in the where? In the underworld, right? To suffer, right? To suffer. Certainly not to enjoy, not to have pleasure, right? Certainly not to have that, right? Just like in Islam, they say, right? If you become a martyr, you will go back to paradise, blah, 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 right, all that stuff. And they also say if you're evil, you'll suffer in the underworld too. Okay, so now step back. Just think about this. So we say, oh, the soul therefore suffers, right? If it's an underworld, it's going to suffer pain, whatever, I don't know, whatever, sorrow, whatever. Think about it. Our Buddha nature, does the Buddha nature suffer pain? See, so the soul is not our Buddha nature. Understand? Makes sense? By definition, right? Get it? So, right. Right. You can.
So it's purity, compassion, peacefulness. But the soul that we commonly talk about in the soul that we have in certain forms, and this is usually we say polluted or influenced by our circumstances. So it's really our human heart, part of our human heart. It has the three, or we say the three poisons. So they all are vulnerable to. With this kind of soul, we still will plant some calming seeds, which lead to incarnation.
Yeah. What I'm going to get at is this: is that understand when we say that oneness, that Buddha nature. Remember, didn't I at the very beginning, or in my intro, I say what are some of its qualities? Non-dualistic, right? So it's neither positive, negative, neither good or evil. Very interesting. It's hard to describe, right? Because it's absolute. That's a short way of saying. Even though, some people might think, it's dualistic, but we got to be careful. That's why it's non-dualistic. What? It's timeless, dimensionless. Whereas the notion of a soul, right? We say, oh, the soul suffers. Then if it suffers, then it's not the Buddha nature. You get it? The reason why it suffers, quote unquote, we say it suffers, is because we have, what Buddha calls it, attachments. We have desires. We have cravings. That's why it suffers. You understand? You have this attachment. Get it? Right? So, in other words, if I'm attached to something that is very beautiful or whatever, or nice or that, so if I don't have it, I'm going to suffer, right? Because I don't have it. Because, right? I don't have it. You get it? So that's what the soul is. You get it? Because the soul exists because we still have attachments. Understand? Okay? So that's why from Buddha's perspective, from that absolute realm, or, that Dharma Dhatu, really, that's the soul is not real either. You get it? Make sense now? So that's why he negated, Buddha said, the first four negate is non-existence. Means that, so if you believe that there's a soul, that's wrong too. Understand? Because you still are attached. You believe that there is this. You get it? Understand now? So that's really. I mean, we can go more in depth, but it gets. I don't want to go into too abstract because just have understanding. So just understand that. You understand? So that's why Buddha negated that, saying that even the soul is not real. You get it? Yes.
So how I'm seeing it is that the goal is to be able to completely let go of any attachments and completely forget about the soul and just focus on Buddha nature.
Yeah. That's true. That's good. Yeah. But be careful too, because once we get trapped in words, even Buddha at the higher level, and this is at I think it was in his Mahaprajna Sutras and the Heart Sutra. We will talk about it, but it's kind of summarizes. That leads to the second negation. So, yes, you can say completely let go. That's true. That's the basic level. If you're going from the existence perspective, but do not become attached to that letting go too. Yes, be careful. Understand now? Yeah. So that's why it's hard, right? So that's why it's tough. It's tough. And that's the second. You get it? The second negation. That's why he says. Now people say, okay, okay. So now, then if you carry that to the extreme, it becomes nihilism. Get it? Non-existence. So people say, oh, nothing exists. So there's no such thing as soul, which in a sense it's true. Because at the ultimate reality, there's no soul. Understand? But then you become attached to say, hey, there's nothing. Then that's wrong too. Get it? So that's that non-existence. You get it? Not non-existence. The second negation. Understand? Yeah. You gotta be careful. Okay. So this, because we're talking about something that's non-dimensionless, that's non-dualistic, absolute. You can't describe it, but yet it's not that nothing. Remember, I go back to that. We say there's an essence and there's a consciousness. You get it? So we can say essence is empty because, it has no shape or form. It's indescribable. Actually, it's indescribable. Yet it's all pervasive. It's like Western concept of ether. People say ether. Like I say, akasha or sunyata. Sunyata, maybe more like it. Akasha, sunyata, whatever. Okay? But there's a consciousness. Remember, there's a will and awareness or whatever you want to call it, right? Okay? So there's that something. Get it? There's a something. So we call that the Buddha nature. Get it? You get it? Okay? So it's not totally non-existence. Get it? So that's the other extreme. Remember? Right? So we got to be careful. Okay? So yes, we start out because most of us, I would say most of us still have attachments, right? Most of us. I would say most of us. Maybe 99.9999% of us. So the first step is to get rid of that. You understand? But don't go to the extreme of non-existence either. You understand? That's why there's a danger. That's why Buddha, and this is an example. That's why, Buddha's disciples, right? Mahakasyapa, Sariputra, even Shibuti, etc. They're all pretty advanced, right? They're all pretty advanced. They're all arhats, really. They're all arhats. They're all attained. But one thing that they how can I say? One of their methods, or you can say shuxing. It's called. There's a term in Buddhism, in Sanskrit. It's called sadhana. 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 That's shuxing. We call it cultivation. We say cultivation for English. From the English translation, they are very, how can I say? I don't say attached, but they believe a lot in what we call meditation, right? People say, oh, meditation, we have to let go, calm your mind, right? Calm your mind, let go, right? Let go. Don't think, don't arouse your consciousness, right? Or even subconsciousness, right? Remember? And there's the four dhyanas, the four dhyanas and the eightfold something liberations. Bhajya, eightfold. It's called the eightfold. It's in this thing. Okay, it's called the eight samadhis of emancipation. That's it. Or the eightfold liberations. Yeah, liberations. Right. They go into really really deep level. They go into like things like what called Meditating on infinite space, that's the fourth level, or fifth level, I forget that. Third. Meditation on infinite consciousness, infinite space, infinite consciousness. Then meditating on nothingness or non-existence, okay? And then meditating on neither thought, non-thought. Meditating on total extinction and cessation of sensation and consciousness. That's called the ninth dhyana. But it doesn't matter. I mean, that's technical. But what I'm trying to say is, you go to those extremes, you'll reach that level. Okay, and Buddha was very clear in telling his disciples, that's not the way. That's not the true way. You don't just meditate. You get it? You don't just meditate. Because you could go to one extreme into that non-existence, totally just emptiness. And you don't have the Buddha nature. What Buddha was trying to say is that there is a Buddha nature. Even though it's empty, but there's still a Buddha nature. You get it? So it's very it seems very contradictory. On the one hand, Buddha says, there's no form, no nothing, and yet there's no emptiness either. You get it? Or no vacuum. I'm going to say vacuum. Some people say vacuum. Use the term vacuum. As opposed to void. Get it? Okay, so there's a distinction, there's a nuance between void and vacuum. I guess, I don't want to go into semantics. That's the problem. That's one pitfall, potential pitfall that we could go into, where we end up everything being semantical, and that's called structuralism, and I don't want to get into that. But anyway, okay, all right.
You mentioned the way you look at soul. I'm trying to describe soul, right? Soul, it's actually, we have the Buddha nature, right? And that soul is like, the Buddha nature is, the Buddha nature, but then the soul is like, we have a body, a physical body, right? The soul is our spiritual body, so that you can think of it that. But it's just like our physical body.
Right, so it's dualistic.
Yeah, just like our physical body is, you can say, the result of karma. Is the result of karma. So
result of conditions.
Result of karma. It's in the spiritual.
Right. It's an abstract entity as opposed to a physical entity. So one's physical, one non-physical. That's all. So that's a dualistic. So that's humans. We're dualistic. You get it? We're dualistic. Buddha nature is not. See, that's what I'm saying. It's very abstract. So I don't want to go too deep. But you need some background, okay? Because this background will help you prepare to understand when we go into the future lectures topic about Buddha nature. Okay, you understand that? Yes.
May I add something to the Nicholas?
Yeah.
The two types. I'm not sure how to really explain the other one. That's what is called eternalism. But the other one, nihilism, is that we deny the existence of anything.
Of anything, yeah.
The risk and the danger is that then we don't believe in the Buddha nature.
Right.
We don't believe in reincarnation or causality.
Right.
So people will say, since nothing exists,
Right. I can do whatever I want. Yep.
I'm done with this life.
That's it.
It's
Right.
all,
It's
all gone.
yeah. Right.
So they can do whatever they
Right,
want. They
right.
can break the law.
Right.
And sometimes the human law is still, I would say, not as significant as the heavenly law.
Right. Really, it's a law of causality. That's really ultimately that's the ultimate arbiter. All causality. Law. So yeah. That's why now if you understand a little bit of this, now you can understand why Buddha said to the eternalists, no, you're wrong, because there's nothing eternal, right? And then at the same time, to the nihilists, right? Nihilists or people who believe in absolute vacuum or nothing, right? No consequence. There's nothing. He said, no, there is something. You get it? So that's why Buddha used that, because we have these two extremes. You understand? See, this is very fundamental. If you understand this, then it'll help you better understanding of Buddha's teachings. Okay, so that's why to those people who are nihilists or people who are who believe nothing exists or everything is a vacuum, he said, no, there is something. There's a soul. You get it? It's because what he's trying to teach these people is that no, our existence, even though ultimately it's not real, that's true, ultimately it doesn't exist, but in this life, quote unquote, or in this reality, there is a consequence. You get it? So that's why morality and all that stuff. So that's why we can't just go around stealing, killing, lying, and all that stuff. You get it? Because there's a consequence. Right? But if you believe in nihilism, It doesn't matter, right? Because ultimately, you're not going to exist anyway, so who cares, right? See, so that's what Buddha was trying to tell them, that no, that's not right. So that's why he said, no, there's a soul. Get it? So it's not contradictory. Get it? From people who believe in, there's an eternal soul, right? There's an eternal soul. People say, no. Buddha say, no, that's wrong. Because ultimately, there's no eternal soul. Because why? The reason why we still have a soul is partly karma, but also because we have attachments. So Buddha say, no, we cannot have attachments. Understand? So that's why he's teaching. Make sense now? Yeah, a little better understanding? So we really have to see beyond the words, okay? You have to understand what Buddha was trying to drive at, that core. And it's always the same. Get it? Get it? It's always the same core, okay? All right? Make sense now? Okay? So one way to look at it is like saying, to view all his teachings, okay, Buddha's teachings, is to say, you use this analogies or example, it's like saying Buddha is pointing to the star or to a moon, to a star, whatever. So you can say all his teachings, all Buddha's teachings are like this hand pointing. It's that, it's like a compass or giving a guide, whatever. And the essence is that star or that moon or whatever that's indescribable. Understand? So just pointing from my perspective, I'm saying, hey, it's this angle. It's pointing this direction. From another person, if you're on the opposite, you're saying, hey, it's pointing toward me. You get it? So you have infinite directions or infinite what? Teachings. Understand? That's an analogy. Okay, so now that's the first two, okay? The third and fourth is a little bit more complicated because it involves aspects of both. All right, so there are what we call, now during Buddha's time, by the way, that's why it's good to read up a little bit on Buddha's biography or whatever, okay, on Buddha. Okay, there are, I think, 6 or 8 major schools, I think there's 6 major schools of thought, you know that, during Buddha's time, you know that there are many gurus. Some believe in nihilism. Some believe in, no, there's something eternal. There's an eternal soul or spirit or whatever. You know that? There's several. And Buddha basically negated all those, okay? But that's what there's four negation. And if you want to go to more detail, or not detail, it's just get the introduction of it. It's stated, it's mentioned in the Surangama Sutra, by the way. That's why Lecture Lu talked about Surangama, and this topic came up. It's in the Surangama Sutra, but actually it's found throughout all his sutras. It's just that in the Surangama, you guys are familiar with the Len Yan Jing, right? Len Shou Len Yan Jing, okay? The Surangama Sutra explicitly mentions the fourfold negations by name, okay? So that's why, okay? But don't. He also talks about the Buddha nature too, but that, among others, okay, causality he talks about, okay, in the sutra. There's some controversy, but I don't know about the sutra, you know that, about the authorship, because supposedly some scholars say that Buddha didn't say that. It was apocryphal, apocrypha, A-P-O-C, apocrypha, C-R-A-P-H-Y, or apocryphal, yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. We don't need to go into that. But that's really, nitty gritty. We don't need to go into that. But okay, fourfold negation. So the third negation. What is the third negation? Some people say, hey, some people got smart. Said, okay, Buddha, you say it's not existence and it's not non-existence. How about both? How about both? Then I'm covered. then that's correct, right? That's the proper view. Actually, that's wrong too. So Buddha called that. Now, there's a branch of philosophy called dualism. Let me see, that's why I'm going to too much. It's dualism. That's really what this is. Both existence and non-existence. To be a little bit more specific, dualism. Have you guys heard of Sartre? Jean-Paul Sartre? He's a French philosopher, probably, a couple hundred years ago? One of his well-known books is called No Exit or something like that. L'Autre. No, that's somebody else. But they're all the same. But anyway, it's called existentialism. Anybody knows what existentialism is? Yeah. So existential basically believes that, yes, there is a reality. There is an existence now. Now, I can touch, I can feel, I can sense, I have consciousness, etc., etc., etc. I have thoughts, whatever, I have free will, blah, 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 blah. Now, but then after I die, it's empty. It's totally empty. It's gone. It's nothing, nothing. No heaven, no hell, no nothing. No, it's basically empty. That's called existentialism. Get it? See, that's wrong too. That's wrong, because that's very short-sighted. Get it? So that's why, from an existentialist point of view, live and enjoy life. You get it? Make sense? Okay. Enjoy it while you can, baby. Enjoy it, because in the future, when you go, it's gone. Get it? So they don't believe in causality either. Make sense? That's called existentialism. And as a matter of fact, during Buddha's time, there was that school of thought too, by the way. Oh, it preceded Sartre, okay, in the West, okay? But anyway, that's okay. Or I wouldn't say exactly the same idea, but similar, okay? But anyway, to be correct, just be correct. So Buddha say, that's wrong too. Get it? Make sense now? So he negated existentialism, saying this, because with both existence and non-existence, we introduced the concept of time. Okay, that for a certain amount of period, there's existence. Then for another period, there's non-existence. Get it? Well, remember I said Buddha nature is timeless? Timeless. Get it? No time. No beginning, no end. Whereas existentialism has a beginning and end. Get it? Make sense? So Buddha nature has no beginning, no end. It's hard to grasp, I know that. We say eternal, but then even eternal is very, very, falls in the trap of dualism. Because we say, okay, we just say it's timeless. There's no beginning, no end. So we call it eternal. Yeah, that's true. We call it eternal. Just like what God said to Moses, I am the Alpha and the Omega. Right? Right? Alpha and Omega. Right? The beginning and end. I mean, whatever. Okay? It just means, well, we say eternal, but you have to be careful, okay? Because when we say eternal, we fall into that trap of existence again. So be careful, okay? It's just that what's eternal is that state, it's our Buddha nature. You get it? It's that state of being that cannot be defined either as existing or non-existing. Get it? Okay, so that, all right? Okay, so that's the third-fold negation. I mean, there's more complex, but I don't want to go into that. It gets too abstract, okay? I don't know. Then okay. So then some of the Buddha's disciples, not disciples, critics would say, okay, Buddha, so you're saying the first one is wrong, existence is wrong, and vacuum or non-existence is also wrong, and both existence and non-existence is also wrong. Then you know what? Then it's neither. It's neither of the two. That's the fourfold. Okay, that's neither existence nor non-existence. And there's a branch of philosophy that deals with that too. It's scary, right? It's called panpsychism. I don't go into detail too much. An example, an offshoot, or one of the branches of panpsychism. Have you guys heard the term agnostics? Yeah. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not true. You get it? Maybe this, maybe that, or not this or not that. You get it? That's agnostics. You get it? As a matter of fact, there is a group of gurus during Buddha's time that are very close to this agnostics too, by the way. So that's why Buddha is negating that too. You get it? Says that's wrong too. That's also wrong. Okay? It's not neither existence nor non-existence. Because if that's the case, then everything's a big question mark. Right? Everything is not sure. So then that means there's no law of causality either. Make sense? And the Buddha say that's wrong too. You get it? Because then that means there's no such thing as morality. There's no such thing as right or wrong. Right? Right or wrong. Right? Then I could kill you. It doesn't matter. You get it? Because everything becomes subjective. And that's not good either. You get it? Everything is purely based on an individual's perspective. And that's not good either. You get it? So Buddha was trying to tell the people that belief, that notion, that concept is also wrong. Understand? Because then that means if it's neither existence, then everything's a big question mark, right? Everything is, we don't know. Everything's, right? Unknown. You can say big unknown, right? And then that's a trap too. You get it? So Buddha was trying to say, because then that will lead to people, if people who believe in that generally are, I don't want to say, have, I don't want to say have suicidal tendencies, but people are like that. I mean, there are. I mean, well, that's really the second one, nihilistic. But also people who are neither, because they're lost. They're really lost. They're truly lost. Get it? Well, actually, you're truly lost in any of those three. But so Buddha said to his disciples that this group of people and this group of people are the hardest to teach his teachings to. You know that? That are the most difficult people. You know that? Buddha said these two. At least this one and this one, they have some kind of attachment, so that's okay. That he can get his message through. Understand? Because they still have some kind of attachment, right? Whereas these two groups are like at the deep end, at the extreme end, saying that nothing exists, or everything is a big unknown. You get it? So, right, yeah, no motive, yeah. Even though partly they're correct, but only partly. You understand? Partly, right? So the key is these are all extremes. That's what Buddha was trying to drive at. That we have to be very careful. That's why it's called the middle way. His teaching is really the middle way. 中庸, okay, it's really the middle way. But the key is, in order to grasp or to deviate from the middle way, is you have to have this proper view, proper understanding, the first Eightfold Path, right? The first of the Eightfold Path, right? Proper view, proper understanding. Understand that there is this tathata, there is this thusness, there is this essence and consciousness. Essence or awareness or will, whatever you want to call it. There's this oneness, thusness, that is indescribable, that is neither these four. That's none of these four. You get it? Okay, so that's why we say we study the Buddha nature, is to understand that. You get it? It can get very theoretical, like I just said, right? Very, very abstract. It does. Ultimately, it is. But in everyday reality, here's how it feels. Ask yourself, what allows you to think? What allows you to have consciousness and subconsciousness? You get it? People say soul. People say soul. Wrong! Didn't we just go through the whole thing, talk about soul? You get it? So it's not the soul. It's that Buddha nature. You get it? It's that indescribable, timeless, dimensionless, remember, non-dualistic being or essence, whatever you want to call it, right? You get it? It's that gives rise to everything else. So that's what Lao Tzu said. That's why I go back to Tao Te Ching. Lao Tzu said, right? The Tao生一，一生二，二生三，三生万物, right? Tao gives rise to one. The Tao gives rise. So he's saying it's that essence. The essence gives rise to this oneness. This oneness gives rise to duality. Two is duality. The duality gives rise to this what? Three, right? He says three. Three means multiple, or you can say combinations. And then the combinations gives rise to infinite, everything. You get it? Okay? So Lao Tzu is saying the same thing as what Buddha was saying. Okay? Understand? Okay, so that is that. We call it the Tao. In Chinese, they call it the Tao. In Buddhism, we call it the Buddha nature. It's all that oneness. So we have to really, just bear these things in mind. That's all, okay? When we approach all his teachings. Now, another example is this. It's like saying this. If you really want to apply it, and that's where the difference between Buddha or what we call enlightened beings and sentient beings is this. The ancients, many ancients, like people like what we call, like for example, who is the Fuxi? Have you guys heard of Fuxi? Fuxi, right? He's the first, supposedly the first patriarch of the Green period, right? Yeah, Green period, right? Yeah, Green period. He was able to, well, they say supposedly one day, or when he was born, or whatever, I don't know, whatever. But he saw the heavens and he saw the earth. He became enlightened. Yeah, because he understood that even though we're in this physical phenomena, right? In this conditioned phenomena or this conditioned universe, right? He understood that there is an underlying reality that gave rise to everything. You get it? That's the Buddha nature, or we call it essence or oneness. You get it? So that's why or that's one example, okay? Or it's just like saying, we just have to be mindful, saying that when we drink a cup of water, okay, I wonder, where did it come from? The water, the source, 源水, right? 饮水, 思源, right? 思源. 源 means origin, the source. So just like we are thinking, we are feeling, we are thinking, we're talking, we're breathing, we're eating, we're sleeping, etc. We're talking. Where's that essence? Where's that? What gives rise or what allows us to think, feel, sense, speak, listen, etc., etc.? Understand? So that is our Buddha nature. It's not the soul. Okay? That's very important. All right? So that's one thing that we have to bear in mind. Okay? So just that, it's really, we could go more. I mean, this is just, it seems very abstract. I agree. It does. But just in everyday terms, yeah, we can start out with saying, do not become attached to our emotions, feelings, objects, first objects, right? Because that's something that we can see, touch, and feel, our 5 senses. Then next level is more the emotional aspect, right? Then the next level, thoughts, conceptions, ideas, okay? All right? So that's why Lecturer Liu, you're going to hear this phrase constantly. He says, let go of all thoughts, right? We say thoughts, okay? Right? Or do not let go of all karmas and do not let a single thought arise. I mean, that's the more or less literal translation. Yeah. This gets very abstract, but just understand that what we're talking about is the Buddha nature. Understand? That's really indescribable, okay? But you can look at it in those 2 dualities, right? You can say essence and function, right? Or principle and function, essence and consciousness, right here, right? Essence, consciousness. You can say pure energy, word. Okay. Think of it that way, okay? But it's actually indescribable. Remember, it has timeless, dimensionless, non-dualistic, unperturbed. That means nothing can affect it, right? Or influence it. Get it? So a soul can sense pain, right? We say that's why soul suffers. That's wrong. That's not really the true reality. Get it? Okay? So just understand that. All right? The reason why we have a soul is because we have a body and we still have attachments. Or not, we have karma. To be more technical, we have karma. That's the only reason. Buddha has no karma. So therefore, there's no need for a soul. Get it? They don't have a soul. A soul is like a shadow, a reflection of our true Buddha nature. That's really. But then once we have no karma, the soul is gone. You get it? There's no such thing as a soul. Understand? Okay? I'm sorry. Thank you very much. I know you have questions. Hopefully, over time, you can. All right. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.